Hello and welcome to Martin Lucas Investor. My name is Sensei, and thank you for tuning in to the morning forecast show. We're live every single morning, 2 hours before the opening bell. So, today is going to be interesting. We had the FOMC earlier in the month, but now we get the reasons why they cut, the dissents. All the important information will be coming out today and we'll be covering it live on the show. Let's get prepared for that. Let's answer all your questions in the live chat. Let's go on to our main stories of the day. As always, we'll go over to our very own newsletter. It's the first link in the description. Go and check it out. It's a daily newsletter. We never have enough time to go through all the newsletter in our morning shows. There's a lot of information in there. There's parts that are just reserved for you guys to read, specific stories, charts, the deep dives. So do make sure you go check it out. But let's just look at the stories at a glance to get us ready for the day. What's been happening? Well, 2025 is coming to an end. It's the 30th of December now, one more day of trading, and that is 2025 wrapped up. Analysts are now predicting that in 2026, we are expecting a further rally. We are now going into a situation we haven't seen since the early 2000s, where we looked at multi-year gains on the S&P 500. I think it'll be 4 years of gains now. 2022, yeah, 3 or 4. It'll be the fourth year of S&P 500 gains, and every single analyst is predicting that we will be up on the S&P 500 next year. These are the analysts that were surveyed by Bloomberg. The average is looking like a 9% year on the S&P 500 in 2026. Every single analyst. Of course, that does make me feel a bit nervous. If everyone's predicting something, I'm a bit of a what's it called? Contrarianist. When everyone says something, I like to sometimes play the opposite. So that's the alarm bells ringing out to me. But of course, the reality is, if every single person's saying it, then maybe obviously there is obviously some merit to it, and I do expect the S&P 500 to gain in 2026. The AI boom is not over, and we are expecting a lot more spending in AI. So every single analyst is predicting a good 2026, and that's why I like to always be invested in the markets. I'm always 80%, 70%, 90% invested in the markets. I do have a trading portfolio. And I do like to leverage trade with a separate portfolio as well. So, but the market over time always goes up. That's what the past shows us, that we always go up over time. So that's why I always like to be invested. And if we're wrong and it doesn't go up, then maybe the next couple of years it will go up, and next year we won't go up, and we can benefit from trading 2026. I still think 2026 is going to be a good year. I think it's going to be great for trading, actually. There's always a bull market somewhere. I think there's going to be a lot of volatility with AI, but there's going to be a lot of companies, multi-billion-dollar companies, emerging out of nothing in 2026 because of the AI boom. So very, very looking forward to 2026. Looking forward to starting the portfolio challenge as well, which will be essentially, it's not follow my trades. I don't want it to be like that. It's look behind the scenes. This is how I look at stocks. These are the stocks I'm looking at. AI is very interesting. Let's look at different sectors of AI we can invest in. What is the infrastructure plays? What are bonds? What am I investing in? And then I'll have a part of my portfolio which I will be sharing live on the show starting in the new year. Also, the behind the scenes will be on the newsletter, so make sure you go and check that out. You can sign up for the newsletter. It's free. It's free to enter. There is a premium plan as well, but also one of the tickets to win $2,000 worth of XRP live on the show tomorrow. The giveaway is tomorrow, giving away $2,000 plus more tomorrow on the show. One of the tickets to enter is just by having the newsletter and claiming your tickets on the website. So even if you have the free newsletter, you can claim 20 tickets for having that newsletter. I'll tell you more about the $2,000 giveaway later in the show. That's coming up tomorrow. Very exciting. So yeah, analysts predicting a great 2026. We've got Meta, which is now, we know how much Meta has been spending on AI. We know how much they've been spending on talent as well. They have just acquired another AI company for $2 billion. We've got MicroStrategy signaling more and more weakness. We have been bearish on MicroStrategy for at least 6 months now on the show. there was a point where there was a double bottom and we took a 80% trade towards the upside, and then we were bearish again. But again, a 15-month low hit on MicroStrategy, and the premium is collapsing to near 1, and it's getting concerning about liquidations of MicroStrategy. We're not there yet. It's probably unlikely to happen. Oh, thank you, Brian. I've just seen your message. Yeah, I need to go check that. Thank you, Brian. I've just seen your message. Okay, so was that on yesterday's? I apologize. So Meta acquires an AI startup, Mantis, very interesting. MicroStrategy making new lows. Again, I'm not going to be shorting it anymore. I'm probably closed all my positions now. Maybe I've got one open. I'll be looking to see if we can get a sustained bounce or levels I'm looking to buy. The chart of the day does look into MicroStrategy. Silver, we had a very bad day on silver yesterday, but exactly as predicted. We said, I mean, everyone's saying it's the worst day on silver, but if you actually look at silver's chart, yes, it was a bad day. But we're back to where we were last week, and we've already recovered half the gains today, up another 5.36%, 38%. I'm not looking to chase silver. I'm already in silver. We bought it at $25. We bought it at $20. We bought it at $30. We bought it at $35. We bought it at $40. I'm not looking to buy it anymore. I'm looking to scale out of my silver position, starting at around $75, then $100, then $111. But yeah, I mean, it's hardly a massive pullback. It was quite a bad day, over down potentially, what was it, 10%, 9% on the day. From the peak to the bottom, it was down over 15%, I think. Yeah, over 15%. But it only erased last Friday's gains. So you erased one day of gains. So again, it's not a massive alarm bell. It just signals what we've been saying, which is we're going to get a lot of volatility in silver now. Now that we are at unbelievable prices. Venezuela has shut down their oil wells. Blockades force production cuts as storage reaches capacity. And then we've also got markets awaiting the Fed minutes. So if you have just tuned in, please make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you have subscribed and you have put that notification bell on. Why? Well, because later today I'll be covering the Fed minutes. So this is the last big event of the year, biggest event of the week. It's the last big event of the year. Going into 2026, this is what's going to move the markets the most, and it's the Fed minutes. So investors anticipate insights into policy divisions and the 2026 interest rate trajectory. So very, very important. The Fed has indicated they only want to cut one interest, or that they're expecting to only cut interest rates once in 2026. The market anticipates it'll be more than that. The Fed minutes might give us more clarity so the markets can price in the rate cuts for next year a bit better. And obviously the amount of rate cuts we get, how bullish and or how hawkish and dovish the Fed are within their Fed minutes will certainly move the markets and give the market something to go off. So the one big thing today is today's release of December's FOMC minutes. Remember, the FOMC meeting's done. The minutes come out later. The markets react on the minutes as much as they react on the FOMC. Today's release of December FOMC minutes will clarify the growing policy rift within the Federal Reserve. Although officials recently lowered interest rates, the formal inclusion of concerns regarding elevated inflation suggests a shift towards a more cautious stance. Investors are specifically monitoring the rationale behind 3 rate descending votes to gauge internal support for policy pause in 2026. And that's what we're going to be focusing on. 3 people voted against a rate cut. They wanted a pause. What time will it be released? It will not be in this show. It will be in a show later on today. So keep an eye out on the channel. If you make sure you have your notifications on, I'll tell you the exact time. We have it here. It's 7 p.m. UK time, 2 p.m. Eastern time is the Fed minutes. That's going to be the biggest event of the week. It's going to be the last massive big event of the year. So yeah, let's get ready for it. If you have just tuned in, hit that like button and subscribe. We're going to go to your comments as well so I can answer everyone's questions ahead of this release. So three people, of the board voted against a rate cut. We're going to get their rationale behind that. If their rationale is we're close to the neutral point, we are already at the neutral point, we're sufficiently restrictive, we don't need any more rate cuts, and if we see that that's going to transcend into the rest of the committee, we can start being a bit more bearish on the market, or the market will take that as a bit bearish. Why? Well, because the market right now is actually pricing in, if we look at the Fed Watch Tool, quite a few rate cuts in 2026, more than you would expect. Right now, we are at 3.5 to 3.75. The market's pricing in over here. You can see this is the most likely by December of the 9th, 2026, or what the market is pricing in. The market's pricing in 2 rate cuts, 26% chance of 3 rate cuts. We're looking at about a 16% chance of 4 rate cuts. We're looking at about a 5% chance of 5 rate cuts. We're looking at about a 1% chance of 6 rate cuts. So the Fed has come out with their dot plot and said, look, we're actually only over here. We're only going to get 1 rate cut. The market's pricing in all of this, which is actually more than 1 rate cut. If we get a stronger stance in that Fed minutes that we're only going to get 1 rate cut, which is what they've sort of said to us before in the dot plot, and that they don't need to cut rates anymore, then the market, which is front run the Fed and said we're going to have all these rate cuts, this will reprice. The market will reprice. The market isn't being priced off what the Fed has done in their dot plots. It's ignoring the Fed. The Fed says 1 rate cut, or the dot plot suggests 1 rate cut. The market's suggesting at least 2, and actually a 70% chance of more than 2 or more. If you look over here, you're looking at basically a 30, 40, 45% chance of 3 or more rate cuts. That's not what the Fed's saying, and the hopes of more rate cuts that we're seeing price in the markets right now could be faded by what the Fed minute says later today. So that's why it's so important. Remember, rate cuts. We want rate cuts to we don't want emergency rate cuts, but we do want rate cuts. It allows liquidity to flow into the market and push the stock market even higher. So we will keep an eye on all of this. These probabilities will change. And if that happens, Martyn celebrates. That's Martyn is in the live chat. Good morning to Martyn. Then you know what I say next, lol. Martyn's right. There we go. We'll see. We're going to be covering it tonight. We look forward to hosting that event for all you guys. The FOMC meetings is at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. GMT. Make sure you tune in for that. Let's dive a bit more into that story. Investors are specifically monitoring the rationale behind 3 rate descending votes to gauge internal support for policy pause in 2026. The primary debate centers on whether current interest levels remain restrictive or have hit a neutral point. So that's the key question. You might have heard the term neutral point. What is the neutral point? Well, it's when you have the economy right, when you have inflation under control, and when the jobs market is intact or not losing. That's what everyone wants to know, the neutral rate. Last year, everyone knew we need to cut rates. This year, everyone's disagreeing on when that neutral rate is. And if we continue to get disagreement, or we start going towards no rate cuts, the market won't like that. So we will see tonight or later today what the dissenters said. The dissenters are the 3 people that voted against it. And remember, a lot of people are saying it doesn't matter. Donald Trump is going to replace Jerome Powell. Jerome Powell is going to be out. We're going to have a new Fed head of the Fed, and that person's going to be very dovish, and we're just going to get rate cut, rate cut, rate cut, rate cut. Wake up. That's not how it works. Just because you have a new chairman of the Fed doesn't mean he can change where we go. He will have some influence, but at the end of the day, he's got the same voting power as the rest of the committee. 1 vote. 1 vote can't change it. He will have to do a very, very good job at convincing everyone else, and we know he's going to be pretty dovish and wants to cut rates. Whether if it's Hassett, we know he wants to cut rates to maybe closer to 1.5%. If it's Waller, maybe closer to 2%. Any Fed governor that comes in is going to want to cut rates because Donald Trump will choose them, but that's only one person. They have to convince the whole board to cut rates. So don't just think new Fed governor, it's all going to be fine. It's not like getting rid of Gary Gensler and the SEC completely changing. The Federal Reserve is an independent body, not to do with the government. The governor can be appointed by the president, but they only have one vote. Martyn says, I'll be watching the event. I can't wait. Yeah, this is going to be big for anyone's portfolio, really. So this, I'm excited to have everyone there. Tim Rogers says, hello, Martyn. Tim Rogers, lovely to have you here. Yolanda says, good morning, Martyn and Leah. Hello, Yolanda. Silver Days XRP says, good morning, sir. Lovely to see you here, Silver Days XRP. I'm loving it. Silver XRP, two of my favorite assets. Martyn Lucas Investor says, morning all, lovely welcome from the Lucas Aids. Thank you always for being. Thank you always. A wonderful thing to hear from you. Yes, it's always lovely to be able to turn on the camera and see everyone here and the lovely comments that come through. If we break $3 before end of year, we're going way up. Matt Grims. XRP is not going to break $3 by the end of the year. XRP is not going to hit $10 by the end of the year. I just saw a X post from I think someone called Zach, who's also a content creator. He said that, I don't want to mention the name of the person, that the other person is still predicting $100 XRP by the end of the year. What is going on? I don't understand. Guys, $100 XRP is not happening. $10 XRP is not happening. $5. We've got 1 day. It's not happening. We've told you 3 months ago, no chance of $10. We told you time and time again throughout the whole year, throughout the last 2 years, don't even think about $100 XRP this year. Don't even think about a $50 XRP this year. We can think about a $10 XRP in 2026 if the cycle continues. Again, maybe not likely, but we can still think about $10 XRP. We can't think about $100 XRP. Please, guys, stop listening to people that are just feeding you nonsense. I can't believe they're still going on with their prediction of $100 XRP by the end of the year. It's not happening. FOMC minutes doesn't really affect the markets like a regular FOMC. Time will tell. Yes and no. It can do. It can. Last FOMC was actually pretty stable. It was an FOMC where we didn't see the markets. I think the S&P didn't even move 1% in either direction. The FOMC in December was very non-volatile. Didn't affect the markets. It was everything as expected. So the minutes, in fact, are actually quite likely to be more effective on than December's FOMC. In general, if you look at some FOMCs, yes, they're more effective than the minutes, but the minutes always move the markets. And this time round, because of how flat we were on December's FOMC, not much went on. The minutes can certainly be more effective than the actual FOMC. So remember, this is the minutes from the FOMC. It is the wording behind it. I'll see if I can bring up an example. Let me go to live chat. And we will get a lot of information, and the markets will digest this information. I'll go over to the Federal Reserve's website and show you an example of a previous minutes. This is what we're going to be analyzing live on the show. And obviously I'll have this all analyzed for you as soon as it comes out. This is, you get all of this. You get the names, who did what, the review of the policy. This is, people like to just see the headlines. We got a rate cut, we got this, but actually the important stuff is the boring stuff. It's the minutes. It's the wording here. Just like Martyn loves to talk to the people behind the scenes, look at the balance sheets, I'm somewhat the same. I like to look at the boring stuff, the minutes, this document that no one can be asked to read. This is really important. It gives us the viewpoint of the Fed. This is more important than Jerome Powell's speech because his speech is shorter than this. This gives us all the underlying data and all the important stuff. So we'll be analyzing this whole document. Again, not this one. This is the one from January of this year. This is just an example I'm giving you. We'll be getting the final Fed minutes later today. So make sure if you're hitting the like button, engaging with the video, you'll be suggested the video when it comes out. If you're subscribed and you've got the notification bell on, you will know exactly when it comes out. And if you've got the newsletter, then you'll have all the information ready for that release. There's a free plan, there's a free trial, there's plan for everyone. It also gives you entries into the giveaway. Now, let me tell you about the giveaway. $2,000 of XRP. You might not like XRP. Doesn't matter. You get the XRP. You can sell it for Bitcoin. You can sell it for cash. You can put it in the stock market. Do what you want. But we will pay it to you in XRP because it's our favorite cryptocurrency and it's very easy to send. So we are giving away $2,000 of our very own money. Yes, we do have a sponsor, but we don't do sponsorships like other channels. We do it from our very own members. So Charlotte May Weddings is a sponsor of this giveaway as well. So he's giving away his hard-earned money as well. And what do you have to do? Do you have to pay to enter? Is it hard? Is it difficult? Do you have to do 50? No, very easy. What you do to win $2,000, best time to enter because it's tomorrow. You have to be present to win. And what do I mean by that? Yes, you'll receive an email, but you have to be very quick. As soon as you receive that email, you should be in the show. You've got a 5-minute countdown as soon as that email is sent. So be in the show. Don't rely on the email. I don't want anyone to miss out. Be in the show tomorrow. The event's already set up. Not only are we doing a $2,000 giveaway, there's more prizes. We're doing spin the wheel with extra prizes. So everyone could be a winner. Who knows? We'll see what happens tomorrow. But at least $2,000. And we've got a spin the wheel. So best giveaway ever. Tomorrow, how do you enter? It's free to enter, free for all. It's not just members. You don't have to pay. Anyone can enter. Everyone's got the same chances of winning. You can win with just one ticket. Let me just show you our sponsor first. This is Charlotte May Weddings. If we go, you can click. Where is it? So there is the YouTube channel. You can visit and subscribe. You have to subscribe to enter the giveaway. So you can see I'm already subscribed to Charlotte May Weddings. Let me give you that YouTube channel. Go and subscribe over here to Charlotte May Weddings. There's the YouTube. But essentially, you can do all of these things. I'm just looking for one more. There we go. Okay, so you can get magic numbers. There'll be a few more given away. You can repost Martyn on X. You get tickets there. You can post on X. You get tickets there. You can, if you've already subscribed to newsletter, you can just claim your prize there, or enter your email and it will know that you've subscribed. And you get 20 tickets there. You can follow Martyn on X, Vaz on X, subscribe to the YouTube channel. You've probably done most of these things, so just go ahead and claim your tickets. Where's the link? Here's the link. I'm going to give you the link now to the giveaway page. Free to enter, free for all, $2,000 worth of XRP. It's our hard-earned money. We don't do fake stuff here. 99% of the giveaways you see on X are all fake. I'll probably say 100%, but we're on there. So 99% of the giveaways you see on X are fake. We do it the proper way, the real way. So tomorrow is the day we give it away. We've been running this for a couple months now, so it's the best time to enter. Literally tomorrow, you can be the winner of at least $2,000 worth of XRP, and there will be multiple winners. There'll be multiple prizes given out, should I say. So the $2,000 XRP giveaway is about 24 hours away. I'm loving it. Make sure you tune into the show where we give it away because you have to be present to win. You can go and claim all your tickets over here as well. You can do one. You can just, if you already, let's say, follow Martyn on X, just go claim your ticket. Or if you want to spend 5 minutes, I'd imagine it would only take less than 5 minutes to claim all the tickets. And then you'll have a better chance of winning. I think there's around I don't know, what was it? 700 people have entered, something like that. It's really not that many. So the chance of winning are quite good. Let's go back to the Fed minutes. So if you have just tuned in, we will be covering the Fed minutes. This is, I would say, actually more volatile than the FOMC we had earlier this month. So we're going to be covering it live. Make sure you tune in. 52%. That's the number that matters today. Markets are currently pricing in only a 52% odds of a rate cut by March 2026. So by March, it's a very weird chart we're looking at with the Fed watch tool. Nobody really knows what's happening, and uncertainty does create volatility. So if we're looking at January, the next FOMC, there's a 16% chance of a rate cut. If you're looking at March, that's when you start looking at maybe a 50 over 50 about a 52% chance of rate cut. So we're not getting one in January. I wouldn't say so at all. In March, we probably won't get one as well. It's 50-50 really. But if you're expecting one every single FOMC, you are mistaken. The next one, if you're looking at the Fed Watch tool, it's about a 50-50, maybe at 52%. So the earliest you can get one is March, but more likely will be in April when the chance of a rate cut is maybe 60% compared to a 38% chance of holding steady. But what's weird is when you go throughout the months, the market just doesn't know what it's looking at. Look, that's so if we go through to January, not really a chance of a rate cut. But then March, you start looking at a chance of 2 rate cuts. So a rate cut in January and March. In April, you start looking at a chance of potentially 3 rate cuts by April, a 1% chance. In June, we're all over the place. There's a chance that we haven't cut rates at all, but there's also a chance we've cut rates once, we cut rates twice, we've cut rates 3 times, or we have 4 rate cuts by then, including the June meeting. Then in July, it's the same story. There's a chance that we've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, including the July um, um, meeting, 5 rate cuts. Again, that's only a 0.3% chance, but there's a 3.4% chance of 4 rate cuts, 16.4% chance of 3 rate cuts, but there's also an 11% chance of no rate cuts. The market has no idea how to price this, and then when you go back to the end of the year, we're looking at December. The median price is over here, 3 to 3.25. That's about 2 rate cuts. So the market is, I guess, pricing in 2 rate cuts for the year, but it's all over the place. There's also a 40% chance that there's at least 3 rate cuts. So it's hard to measure. There's all we can see by this is just lots of possibilities which we haven't seen before. And this is what we talked about. 2026 is going to be very difficult in terms of rate cuts. Are we going to get 1 rate cut? Are we going to get 5 rate cuts? What's the neutral rate? The argument changes here. Everyone in 2025 and 2024 knew that we need to cut rates. They knew that we were too restrictive. Everyone in 2026 will be disagreeing. We're already starting to see the disagreement. What is the neutral rate? Are we at the neutral rate? Is it 2% lower? That disagreement can cause uncertainty. The market doesn't like uncertainty. And when you look at this over here, this is by December of 2026. Where are the rates going to be? Nobody knows. This is all over the place. 31% chance of 2 rate cuts, 20% chance of 1 rate cut, and there's even over here a 5% chance of no rate cuts in 2026. So yeah, the Fed minutes will definitely give us an indication of where we're going in 2026, and because there's so much uncertainty and we might get some more certainty after the Fed minutes today, the markets will react. We had a big loser actually. What was it? It was Sidus Space is up 12% in the pre-market. Is it Sidus? Is that how you pronounce it? Does anyone own Sidus Space? I know ticker symbol SIDU. I know we've covered this before, I think, but it's up today quite big. SIDU Space is up 40% or 33% yesterday and 11% in the pre-market. We're coming up to, we have covered this before. We're coming up to that resistance point around $2.80. So I'll be careful. But yeah, that has been on quite a rally. And another one that caught my eye was, which one got a 4? Yeah. Next, NUAI. NUAI, it's that energy. Yeah, New Era, not Next Era. New Era Energy and Digital. That's down 41% yesterday, and it's continuing its loss today. I don't know if there's opportunity. I haven't researched it enough. Let me know if you guys have seen the story. It's a lawsuit has been put against the CEO. That's a massive drop. Is anyone taking advantage of that? Does anyone have any more information? Is it worth researching? Let me know. New Era Energy and Digital. I don't think we've ever looked at this. But yeah, that's down 41% yesterday. And it's quite a large company as well. It's not, no, it's lost a lot of its market cap. It's only 150 million. But it was growing quite well before that loss. Any more notable gains? Okay, I'm going to go over to the comment section in a second But this is the 2026 story. Wall Street is unanimously betting on a great 2026. What do I mean by that? Well, on December the 29th, yesterday, a Bloomberg survey of 21 Wall Street strategists revealed a rare moment of total consensus. For the first time in recent memory, every single analyst predicts the S&P 500 will rise in 2026. Every single analyst predicts the S&P 500 will rise in 2026. It makes me nervous. I'm not going to lie. It makes me nervous that everyone's predicting that, but also great. Most of my portfolio is long term. So it doesn't really matter. But as I said in my Sensei's Insights, when everyone agrees, my contrarian alarm bell rings. I get a little bit nervous. Just like when everyone says big. Oh, we've got a special guest on the show. Look at this.
At Christopher Pennington Luxury Life donated €11.99 through a super chat. The US needs to refinance $10 of debts. It looks like the cycle is extended. Do you see a weaker dollar in 2026 and more than 3 rate cuts to stimulate liquidity?
Thank you very much for being a special guest on the show. Thank you so much for your support, Christopher Pennington, a wonderful member of the show here who's just given a wonderful super chat. And he asks, the US has to refinance 10 trillion of debt. It's a rather large amount, isn't it? And their interest payments are going up. So the argument here is Trump wants to obviously cut rates, stop paying interest or reduce the interest payments, and essentially get those rate cuts. But also by getting rate cuts, you're going to stimulate liquidity in the markets. It's a win-win situation. And obviously the dollar will weaken if we have more rate cuts. So what we're saying here is I don't think we can even think. I don't think there is enough influence to do that. And obviously if we have rate cuts, but again, it's not as simple as rate cuts will bring down interest rate payments. Or will bring down the financing levels. It's just like a mortgage. Everyone says if you cut rates, mortgage rates will go down. In theory, yes. Most of the time, yes. But if for example, from tomorrow, every single month for a year, we got rate cuts, and in 2027 we were at 0.5% rates or interest rates or 1% interest rates, the market would be severely worried. Too many rate cuts causes uncertainty, causes panic, causes a rise in inflation. And you might have short-term interest rates at 1% because that's what the Fed can control. But what you in fact have is the 10-year yield or the 10-year interest rate or whatever you want to call it, the 10-year bond, that will be priced much higher. Or the yield will be much higher. The yield you'll be looking at, the price will be lower, the yield will be higher. So you'll be looking at the yield at what it is right now, 4%. If we had rate cuts every single month until 2027, that yield on a 10-year bond would actually not be going lower. It will be going higher. So we might have a 8% yield on the 10-year treasury. And when you have a 10% yield on the 8-year treasury, the stock market will crash because everyone can get 8% for doing nothing. The mortgage rates will skyrocket because the mortgage rates are more based on the 10-year than they are on the 2-year. So essentially, just because we have rate cuts doesn't mean that the US's interest rates, they will be able to finance it at better rates. If they do it slowly, cautiously, properly, based on data and the market doesn't get scared and inflation doesn't come back, then yes, the 10-year yield will come down, everyone's mortgage will come down, and so will the refinancing for the 10 trillion on debt. So it's quite complicated because there's very many metrics that will come down to it. But I don't see, in answer to your question, I don't see more than 3 rate cuts. Although rate cuts will stimulate the liquidity, there might be too many. There might be 3 rate. I would say in 2026 we'll probably get 2 or 3 rate cuts. The Fed saying 1, the market's pricing in 2, 3. I would say either 2 or 3 rate cuts in 2026. I wouldn't say more than 3 rate cuts. Um, will the dollar continue to weaken? Well, the dollar's been weakening for quite a while, so I wouldn't be surprised if we get maybe a rally in the dollar actually in 2026. We'll probably actually will just go sideways looking at the chart. I don't think anything major will happen to the dollar. So I see the dollar being the same. I see not more than 3 rate cuts, and I see the US not looking to. Well, I don't know if they have to or not, but I would imagine they'll prolong the refinancing of the 10 trillion for as long as possible. But again, look, I'm not an economist. I don't know every single thing. But I do know if we had rate cuts, the 10-year yield will go up, mortgages will go up, and the refinancing will go up. So it's not as simple as rate cuts equals liquidity and lower interest rate payments. So let's just cut rate cut. So let's just cut rates. It's not as simple as that. But yeah, I hope I answered your question. Well, that's my opinion anyway. Craig Carter says, no way Powell is going to say or admit on more rate cuts. Um, um, and as Christopher Pennington has just done a super chat, I just remembered Christopher is a sponsor of the channel as well. Again, we don't take corporate sponsors; it's our members only. This is Christopher Pennington. Let me actually go to his channel. He's a sponsor, so let's promote his YouTube channel. If everyone can go and subscribe to Christopher Pennington, one of our top members, a sponsor member, a supporter everywhere on the newsletter, on the YouTube channel. Thank you very much to Christopher Pennington. Thank you for being a sponsor member, and thank you for the super chat today. If everyone can please remember, we don't take corporate sponsors, and if you'd appreciate us not doing corporate sponsorships, if you go and click on that YouTube channel there and just press subscribe, that's Christopher's YouTube channel. We would really appreciate it. Brilliant. Okay, let me answer some of your questions and then we'll come back to the analysis. Let's go from the very top. If you have just tuned in, Fed Minutes, we'll be covering it later. It's going to be, in my opinion, more influential for the markets than the FOMC we had earlier this month. Silver Days XRP was here first. Lovely to see you here. Smash the likes and subscribe. Thank you, Silver Days XRP. Brian says, morning all. Yolanda says, hi. Hello, Brian. Remember, guys, not only are we giving away $2,000 of XRP, that's the link that's pinned above there, free to enter, free for all. There will be extra prizes. There'll be spin the wheel. How do you enter the spin the wheel? Well, it's not only from entering, it's also the people that we recognize the most, whether it's Martyn seeing you guys comment, repost on X, whether it's Vaz seeing you guys in his videos or in his X reposting and commenting, whether it's me seeing you on X or seeing you in the newsletter restacking or commenting, or you've got a day to go crazy on X and on the newsletter. The more we see your name, the more likely we are going to remember it and put it in the spin the wheel. Of course, we've got proper data analysis as well from the newsletter on who's done the most as well, but we also have our brains as well, and we can see who's been doing the most on the newsletter on X. So guys, make sure you go comment on the newsletter, restack it, go on X, repost and everything. Tomorrow is that $2,000 giveaway, and you can be in the spin the wheel as well for the extra prizes. The reason I said that is because I've just seen Brian and Yolanda, and Brian and Yolanda always are in the newsletter. There are a few more names. I saw Susan Swatford. I'm not going to give too many names away. I'm not saying any of these people are going to be in the spin the wheel, but there's a few names that are coming round. Tomorrow I'll make my decision. I think I'll recommend one or two. So we'll see who does the most. Brian is there. Yolanda says hello. Yolanda says, good afternoon, Sensei, and good morning, everyone. Brian says hello, Yolanda. Yolanda is here. Brian says, love Sensei's thumbnails. Always shocked, but chill when we're live. That's how I like it. I like to be shocked. Everyone come and enjoy the video, and then we can be chill together. Thank you, Brian. Yeah, it's my signature now, isn't it? It's exactly the same every time. Slack says it's called clickbait. There's good and bad clickbait. I don't mind if you say it's clickbait. Yes, I've got a shocked face, but everything I put in the thumbnail and the title is true. What's my title today? Live FOMC minutes ahead. Are 2026 rate cuts at risk? It's not clickbait. Telling you exactly what's happening. The FOMC minutes are ahead. And are 2026 rate cuts at risk? Yes. That's exactly what's going on. Let me go over here. Good morning, Sensei. What is this for trading stocks? Guys, there's good and back to clickbait debate. There's good and bad clickbait. If you go, I just watched a movie yesterday. What was it called? The Housemaid. The trailer is not what the movie's like. The poster, well, it's not. It is what the movie's like. It's dramatized the movie into the best bits. And if you don't look at the trailer, you look at the poster. It's drawing you in. You want to go and watch it. I want to draw you in, but also not promise you something that's not happening. So we don't put $1,000 XRP on our titles just so we get views. That's what other people do, and that's just fake. If I put Jerome Powell on the screen with me going, it's because I'm going to be surprised when the Fed minutes come out. It's not. It is what's going to happen in the video. But yeah, anyway, Tim Rogers says, hello, Sensei. Thank you for the informative 2025 and more in 2026. Thank you, Tim Rogers. Yes, really appreciate it. Yeah, 2025 is the year that we basically created a media company because we didn't want, especially with the newsletter, for example, there was too much fake stories out there and we need to validate the information. So we're looking to give you great information, and that will continue in 2026 and it will only get better. John Smith says Shanghai silver spot price on December the 30th traded around 16 yen. Or yuan. Yuan is China, yen isn't. Anyway, yuan. 16.83 yuan per gram for standard silver. So that's about 1.6 pounds-ish per gram for standard silver, equivalent to around $82 to $85 per troy ounce after conversion. Yeah, they're trading at a premium. We've covered this in the newsletter. Why are they trading at a premium? Well, because they're shutting off exports of their silver tomorrow. We'll see if that premium continues into February. If it does, then we have a real problem where, I guess, not really a problem for our silver holders, but silver will continue to go up. If that eases off in January and February, then we'll probably cool down on the silver front. Hi all, says Henrik. Matt Grimes is here. Lovely to have you, Matt Grimes. Imad Mustad 3324. At what time will we cover the FOMC minutes? It'll be later today, so stay tuned. Morning Sensei, morning Lucas Aid, says Christopher Pennington. Silver Day says smash the likes, everyone. Thank you very much. Richard Baker says good morning, happy New Year's. Yes, we're a couple days away yet, but we're going to have the best New Year's Eve party with a $2,000 giveaway. Brian says, Sensei, yes, I saw that. I'll have a look at that, Brian. Thank you. Ninja Cowboy says, good morning, everyone. Thank you, Ninja Cowboy. Slim Jim says, smash that like button. Thank you, Slim Jim. Yes, if you haven't hit the like button, I'm waiting. I'm going to wait. Give you 10 seconds. Still know you haven't hit the like button. Hit that like button. Thank you very much. Human Being Les says, hello, everyone. Ninja Cowboy says, hello. David Hensley is here. Says, what's up, everyone? Lovely to have you here, David Hensley. A big supporter of the show. Caressa 6228 says, what time will it be released? The exact time, if you ever want to see what's happening in the week, if you go to our XRP weekly newsletter, you have the full events of the week coming up. So it's 7 p.m. GMT, 2 p.m. Eastern time. Thank you, says Sierra. Yolanda says, hello, David. Matt Grimes says, here comes Jay Powell and the printing of the dollars. We will probably get some proper QE in 2026, or we might get a... I think we will. Yes, we've got some QE right now. They haven't labeled it as QE, but we could get some in 2026. Hello, Liz, says Yolanda. When's the meeting? I've said that now. Tim Rogers says, hello, Martyn. Martyn says, and that's what. And if that happens, Martyn celebrates, then you know what I say next. Martyn says, hi, David. He says, I'll be watching, and he can't wait. Yeah, it's going to be a big event. I hope everyone tunes in. Yolanda says, good morning, Martyn and Leah. Silver Days XRP says, Martyn, good morning, sir. Martyn says, morning all. Lovely welcome from the Lucas Aids. Thank you. Always a wonderful thing to hear from you. Ryan says, hello, Martyn. You made your bed. You made your bed. Matt Grimes says, if we break $3, no, it's not happening. John Prezzo says, good morning from Toledo, Ohio. Lovely to have you here. Silver Days XRP says hello. Human Being Liz says good morning, Yolanda. Blaze Bandit says what's up, my dude? Appreciate you. Thank you so much. Appreciate you too. Sick Boy Custom says good morning from Sao Paulo. Oh god, I can't say it. Good morning from Brazil. Can't say I'm missing the English weather. Wow. Yeah, it's cold. It's cold in the UK, that's for sure. Timertel says FOMC minutes doesn't affect the regular doesn't affect markets like regular FOMC. I explained that most of the time you're right, but this time I think you'll be wrong. The FOMC was pretty uneventful this time. The minutes will give us more clarity. So the markets will move more. It's the last big event of the year. Macro, apart from our giveaway tomorrow. Marco Tembley says good morning. Human Being List says just arrived at my 4-day holiday out of noises from Silly City. Oh, Liz, that sounds wonderful. I hope you have a good holiday. The Nutella says, where have you gone? What city are you? What's your main city? But you're in Germany, right? And where have you gone? The Nutella says, Nutella 101 says, morning. T. Williams says, the most important thing is Jerome Powell's tie color, let's be honest. David Headley says, congrats, where did you go? Yeah, that's why I asked. Martyn says, plus spin the wheel with extra prizes. We can't wait. Purple tie, let's go, says Silver Days. Martyn says, do those who do the most tickets help the show? Do those who do the most tickets to help the show? We see all those who are sharing reposts. And yeah, we do. We have the system tells us who has the most tickets, which essentially means who's done the most. But yeah, we'll also see we'll also be looking out ourselves as well. See if there's anything else we want to add to spin the wheel. Human Being Liz says, thanks, David. They say it's the most modern village in Germany. Google it. Did you tell us where it was? Where is it? What's the name of the city? Media digitization data recovery says huge liquidity about to change things fast. Not sure what you mean. Cheesecaker says, I was given a membership but can't find the user gifted it from a past live stream. I just want to say thank you. Oh, Cheesecake. Who would it have been? There's been quite a few people. So I'm sure they appreciate the fact that you're trying to say thank you. That's what matters. Rallo1 says, we used to have a member that had a ton of Sidu stock. Oh, really? That's what it was. Yeah, because I've done technical chart analysis for Sidu and I saw it and I wanted to put it in the newsletter because it was one of the big movers. Media digitization data recovery says market makers will want to make their sole passive profit soon. Hence, they'll stop the manipulation very soon. Timertel says, do you like APLD for data center infrastructure play for 2026? Timertel, it's going to be very fun. I'm going to be having a portfolio on this phone. Link it up to YouTube so you guys can see. All the analysis will be done behind the scenes. AI is obviously something that I want to be trading in 2026. I don't think people realize how much is going to change the world. You heard it here first. In 2030, the world is going to be an absolutely different place. If you thought the internet changed the world, AI is bigger. So bigger than crypto, really. In all honesty, it is bigger than crypto. It's bigger than XRP. Bigger than all of that. Is it bigger than XRP? Maybe. I don't know. Depends. Is payments bigger or AI bigger? Anyway, AI is bigger than... Is it big? Yeah, I would say it's because every company will use it. So yeah, AI is bigger than crypto. At least for now. So AI is something obviously I want to be looking into, and questions like that, it's questions I love. Is APLD for data center infrastructure play for 2026? I don't know. I haven't researched it fully yet, but let's have a quick look at the chart and see if we should add it to a watch list. APLD. So yeah, that will be on YouTube in the newsletter for we're going to start with £5,000, I think, and or dollars, and move it up and try and do what Martyn did. And now Martyn's on 300,000.
I can't
whatever that big
believe
number
this.
is. Oh, we've got a new bronze
and Chris
member.
Sheldonop has become a member.
Welcome to becoming a Lucasade. Can't believe it. APDL, yeah, so it's going to be on the newsletter, it's going to be on YouTube. The research behind the scene is going to be on the newsletter as well. So that's going to be exciting. That's starting only in a few days' time. We'll probably start off with cash, then bonds, and then look to deploy into stuff like APDL. APDL is a fairly large company, but not massive. 6.9 billion. We have, oh god, we've done technical analysis on this before. We looked at it at $6, $8, $11, and now it's at $24. There's going to be a lot of this going on. We've had some amazing plays in 2024 and 2025. Let's see if we can keep it on 2026. It looks good. It just might be a bit too overvalued for what I'm looking for. I might not even be looking at directly AI companies, energy companies, underlying metals that are needed, silver, mining companies, anything that's needed for the AI play. It doesn't just have to be the AI data processing companies or the data centers themselves. It can be what's needed for them, which is what we'll be researching. Martyn is going to be live in 5 minutes, so let me go through all these questions and then tell you about the Fed minutes, and then we will be live later today. So, no way Powell is going to say or admit on more rate cuts. No, he's not. He's not going to directly come out and say there's going to be rate cuts. He never does. Um, um, it's yeah, he's not going to come out and say, yeah, rate cuts are guaranteed or whatever. He never does that. You're correct. Not saying that, but you will be able to tell by its wording, just like we've been able to predict like the last 12 meetings. I think I've got every single one right. It's to do with what he says, not what he says he's going to do, but what he says. And what he says is said during an FOMC, it's said during meetings, it's said in the Fed minutes. So we'll have an idea of how many more rate cuts, or when, if we're going to get a rate cut in January or March, based off the FOMC minutes, which obviously is going to affect the markets. Media digitalization data recovery says they have to turn the QE tap on very soon. They don't have to, no. Christopher Pennington says, thank you very much. Powell will have to whisper another that more rate cuts on the way for reassurance. Market doesn't really need reassurance. I don't agree with your sentiment, media digitalization data recovery, but I appreciate your comments. I don't think he has to print money. I don't think he has to cut rates, and that's the issue. The issue is the economy is great. Well, it's not really an issue. It's great long term, but yeah, the economy is great. The growth is expected. Inflation's under control, and the jobs market's under control. You don't really need rate cuts in that situation. So it doesn't really need to reassure the markets with rate cuts or QE. Anointed Flower says, ride the wave. 2026 will be good if you position yourself. Yes, that is correct. Make sure you have a plan. If you just have a plan, whatever happens, you'll be fine. If you're just going to be flip-flopping around every second and you don't know what you're doing and you have no experience, then that's when you lose. Powell will have to whisper. No, he doesn't have to whisper about rate cuts for reassurance. Let's cut to the chase. The markets are based on liquidity foremost, and liquidity is on the way. Yes, markets are based a lot on liquidity. But what makes you say it's on the way? Ninja Cowboy says, already subbed. Oh, I love it, Ninja Cowboy. Jaws says, bull run ended a while ago. Now we wait 2 years. Too many people think like that and they get left on the side. People said that in 2022. People said that in COVID times. Entered yesterday and done as much as I can, says C. Marty. Craig Carter says, Powell will say, wait, look at more data. Powell won't be speaking, but we'll have all the minutes, so it's not really going to be like that. We're going to have some good data points. Kellen Dross says, good morning. Time will tell. Do you like AD? I answered your question. Razzie says, hi, sir. Do you have any idea about... No, doesn't sound like a coin I would even want to look at. Media digitalization data going. Gold and silver profits may rotate into crypto. That's definitely a possibility. That's where I would be rotating it. Poor man to rich man says, morning family. Daddy Pascal says, hi lovely fam. Crypto Dallo says silver. Yeah, we looked in silver. Dallo says silver up. Yeah, it's up 6%. I just said it's going to be very volatile, and that's exactly what's happening. Thomas Monroe says, when are you starting the stock pie? I I would say in the first week of the new year. So what's that, next week? Next week, then Thomas Monroe, media digitized data recovery, all the biggest things since the Industrial Revolution high. What time is the info? It will be later as a separate show. Martyn will show you that show. It'll if you go to the next event, it'll be the event after Martyn's. So go into Martyn. He's going to be analyzing it, giving his comments on it. Then I'll be covering it later today. So thank you everyone for tuning in. Make sure you've got that newsletter that has all the information you want about the minutes later. It's going to have the portfolio on it as well. Training course will be coming soon to the newsletter as well. So go and check out the newsletter. It's a ticket to win the giveaway. The giveaway link is in the live chat as well. I'll give it to you once again. It's tomorrow, the giveaway. So make sure you have entered. You can win with just one ticket, no pay to enter. It takes about 5 minutes to get all the tickets. It takes 1 second to get 5 tickets. So go and participate in that giveaway. $2,000 of XRP given away tomorrow live on the show. Too much good news for crypto. Could we just be getting started? Maybe most bullish macro wise. We will see. I'll answer that question later. But now we're going to go over to Martyn. Stay where you are. He is live with his Morning Bell show. I look forward to seeing everyone later. Make sure you've participated in the giveaway. Make sure you've got your newsletter. And until next time, take care of yourselves and each other. Bye bye.